Buy wholesale wildflowers from tnnursery.net. The lovely flowering plants we all enjoy today were not around when our planet was much younger. In fact, how we arrived at the current botanical diversity we enjoy today is a fascinating story, and begins at the very beginning of time. Here's a layman's quick explanation of how it all happened. Flowering plants are called angiosperms. Their origins are still one of the great mysteries of evolution. Fossil records indicate they appeared suddenly on the planet about 80 to 90 million years ago, beginning their rapid diversification in the mid-Cretaceous epoch. Today's angiosperms are the most abundant and diverse on the planet. Originally, plants were generated from spores, not seeds. The spore process is called sporophyte generation. In this process, two types of spores are produced: microspores, whose cell structure germinate and develop into males, and megaspores, which develop into females. The divergent development itself is called meiosis. Plants evolved over time through sexual reproduction from these initial processes. In short, very early plants had all they needed to reproduce themselves. More advanced flowering plants did not. With their emergence, a whole new grand design was needed, and it required outside help. The birds and the bees, because plants are for the most part stationary or non-locomotive, nature had to provide a mechanism whereby the male and female parts of newly formed flowers could reach each other safely and successfully. This need resulted in the rise of the system of pollination or fertilization by birds and insects. Flowers evolved into the showy, colorful forms we know and love to attract these pollinators. The sweet nectar simply added to the allure. Now you know the origin of the phrase, the birds and the bees. The modern English-American fascination with wildflowers as garden subjects really began in England with a few 19th century gentlemen and gentlewomen, the most famous of which was surely Beta Sackville-West. These privileged people, quite accustomed to formalized flower beds tended by staff of servants, became more and more interested in natural gardens, and the flowers went with them. Gertrude Jekyll, the most famous English garden writer of the time, began cultivating what she called flowering incense in her woodland and meadows, and involved either encouraging wildflowers she found in situ or creating new colonies by planting them in a naturalized manner. Today's wildflower seed mixtures and the fascination with wildflower gardening is directly descended from these early English gardening innovators who recognized the flower of the wild as perhaps the most wonderful and beautiful of all them. Buy wildflowers at TN Nursery.